Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today is an exciting day, and why is that? It's because it's new car day. So our newest vehicle and our newest purchase is replacing the 2004 Ram 1500, and this is a 2007 Chevy Tahoe LTZ. This is very similar in features to what you would expect from a GMC Yukon Denali, but we'll get into that a little bit later in this video. So this Chevy Tahoe is actually a third generation, so it replaced the second generation, which was a much more utilitarian SUV, and replaced it with a much more luxurious version with a ton more features. I really could not imagine what it would have been like when the person that bought this brand new picked it up for the first time and saw all the different features that this thing came with. It is fantastic for the year. We're going to go ahead and get right into that so you can learn a little bit more about our new rig. So this is a great example of a GMT 900 platform from GM. So this is a Chevy Tahoe. However, the GMT 900 was the underpinnings for things like the GMC Sierra, the Chevy Silverado of the same generation, as well as the Escalade, Yukon as mentioned before, and just quite a few different vehicles. And so with that came a very, very reliable drivetrain. So let's go ahead and get into that really quick before we get too far into the video. So this engine right here is actually a big reason why I chose this vehicle. So this is the 5.3 liter Vortec engine from GM. It was used in a lot of their different vehicles, and I think it is actually one of the most reliable engines of any of the vehicles under this price bracket. So the 5.3 was just one of the engines from this generation of GM vehicles. You did also see the 4.8 liter and the 6.2 in the Chevy Tahoe. I have not seen a ton of the 4.8 liter engines out there. I think a lot of people opted for the 5.3, but of course you do see a lot of the 6.2. It is also a Vortec engine. That thing pushed out 380 horsepower, and this one right here is 320. And I'll be honest, this 5.3 seems like the better deal for me. You get a better price, and I'll be honest, I think that these are a little bit more reliable. You see a lot more of them on the road, and honestly it's just a really good engine. So this engine is also mated to a 4-speed transmission, which in the world of 10-speed transmissions may seem ancient and out of style. However, I will say it shifts really, really well, and I think the reliability of this engine and transmission speak for itself, because you see a ton of these hitting in the 300,000 mile range. Of course, this engine and transmission, as well as the vehicle itself, has about 152, almost 153,000 miles on it right now. So for under $10,000, honestly, this is such a fantastic deal, and with just the mileage on it, this thing has years and years to go before I have really any issues with it. So with that 5.3 liter engine and 4-speed transmission comes towing capacity. This LTZ model with that setup can actually handle about 7,200 pounds towing, which is another big reason why this is a fantastic SUV, is that just the towing capacity on these are just comparable to a lot of different pickup trucks, including my old 2004 Ram 1500 that this one replaced, and that is just really important to me, that it has the capabilities to be able to do what I need when I need it. So this generation of Tahoe was actually a really big deal, because back before this generation, third generation, these were much more utilitarian style rigs, and they didn't have a ton of luxury to them or anything like that. And in 2007, it completely changed. And with like the big upgrade on the Escalade and that kind of stuff came a lot of other features as well that I've just been really, really impressed with this rig. However, the other issue though that came with that is in 2007, they came out with it. And as we know, in 2008, a lot of things happened with the financial sector and the economy, and things went down, which is again why I wanted this 2007, because I have heard that in 2008, when the economy started to collapse, quality on these started going down a little bit. So this is before the recession happened, so the quality is still there, and I'm sure that it has no problem whatsoever. And so I can count on a little bit better reliability with this 2007. And with that said, some interesting statistics on this vehicle is that in 2007, they sold 146,000 of these vehicles in 2007 alone. However, when 2008 hit and everything happened with financials, they dropped all the way down to, I think it was 80 or 90,000 units. That is a massive difference. So you'll see a lot more 2007 Tahoes on the road than you will see 2008, probably through 2010 or 11. So now that you know a little bit about the background, let's talk a little bit about the features. This is a fantastic vehicle. So it has a lot of the upgraded stuff that came with a lot of the other high-end versions of this vehicle. So things like air ride suspension, of which, by the way, subscribe, because I have a video that I talk a little bit about the air ride suspension and everything wrong with this vehicle in the next video. So stay tuned for that and subscribe if you want to see all that information and all the different stuff that I have found with this vehicle. But anyway, so air ride suspension was a big thing. This color was a fantastic color. This is the dark blue titanium. I really like it. Of course, it's dirty because I've been driving off road. However, you can kind of get a nice little look at it here. It has a really nice kind of blue shimmery to it. and this is my favorite color for this generation. So anyways, outside of that, there isn't a ton of differences for the outside of this from the LTZ, other than you do get the running boards right here. You got the crossbars up there, of course, as an added option. A lot of them just kind of came with the roof rack and not the crossbars. And then of course you got these 20-inch wheels right here with the LTZ. So these were the premium wheels. Of course, nowadays 20-inch wheels are nothing special, but back then these were massive. And then some other cool features are things like this thing does have the backup camera right here. Of course, the auto latch, so you can actually hold down on the key button here and the hatch automatically opens. Again, guys, 2007. This may be something that's popular nowadays. However, back then this was something that was just kind of revolutionary. So we can shut that. And then another feature, of course, that actually a lot of people probably don't even know has, is this glass actually opens up and you can open it from the key as well. So you just pop it and then you can lift it right up. So you can easily put things in, just kind of throw things in, or a great thing is like if you have dogs or something like that, you can just pop that open and they don't hop right out. And so that is really awesome, and something I did actually not know that Tahoes and GMC Yukons and that kind of stuff had, and was a feature that was added for the 2007 year. So while I really, really like the exterior of this vehicle, I actually don't think that this is what makes it the most special. I really do like the way it looks. It has muscular, kind of more modern styling that is still up to date so many years later. However, I think with this vehicle, what shines the most is of course the interior. So let's go ahead and hop right in there. So let's open it up. And of course in here, actually, this is a cool interior because it actually is the gray interior. A lot of different times you will see the tan interior, which I actually don't like all that much, or it's the black. This is one of the few gray ones that I found, and I've been really, really impressed by it. Of course, it has some bad carpeting because it's old. However, we're going to do something about that. However, I do like the leather here. So let's go ahead and hop in. And this one is the one with the touchscreen unit. So of course it has the nice infotainment center, which is a little bit outdated, but it is touchscreen, which is impressive for the year. And then it also has the sunroof, which is fantastic. This is something that I really, really wanted when we were upgrading the vehicle, is a sunroof. It does pop up and it goes backwards as well. So it has those two different functionalities. And then of course we also have the screen, which I'll be honest, most people probably will never use this day and age because everybody uses their phone or tablet in the car. However, that's really cool to see. It does also have climate control, which is really nice. While our Ford Explorer, which if you haven't seen the video, I'll make sure there's a card up here for you to be able to see my review of our Ford Explorer. But this has true climate control. You can set a specific temperature instead of like say, oh, I wanted a high or I wanted a medium or anything like that, which is really, really nice about this rig because of that. And with that climate control comes heated seats. So we do have heated seats for both the passenger and the driver's side. And then there are actually heated seats in the rear of the vehicle as well. Those back seats are heated, which is something that's actually pretty rare for this generation of vehicle. Something else that is actually really cool about this vehicle is it has automatic four-wheel drive. So if you got like the GMC Yukon Denali or the Escalade, you could actually get all-wheel drive. However, this one has an automatic four-wheel drive system. So basically, instead of being all-wheel drive where it decides to put it at different corners, this one has real four-wheel drive, which is really nice when you're off-roading. But it has auto, which basically means that it's full-time rear-wheel drive. However, it kicks in the front wheels when it needs it most. However, then it makes it kind of a full-time four-wheel drive, so all four wheels are moving at the same rate instead of it being all-wheel drive where it's kind of deciding, okay, which wheel does it need to go to. This does also have memory seats, which I really like. So you can set the seat exactly the way you want it, the back, the seat, all the different ways, and you can just click a button and it really easily just puts it back into the position that you want it, which means if you have multiple drivers of this vehicle in your household, it's really, really easy to be able to get it to where you want it every single time you drive. The other thing that was really important when I was searching for this vehicle is I really, really wanted this flow-through center console. My Ram 1500 didn't have a flow-through and it just didn't feel as nice. It was much more, for lack of a better way of saying it, trucky, rather than more like a car. Deep down, I actually am a car guy. I actually grew up with a ton of different sports cars and that kind of stuff. Again, I'll put a card up here where I talk about all the different cars I've had. So I actually haven't been driving trucks and large SUVs for a long time. And having this flow-through console actually meant a lot to me because it makes it feel a little bit more like a car and a little bit less like a truck. So I actually really do like that it has this flow-through console. And then of course it has the massive center console here, so you can put a ton of different stuff. And then of course you have cup holders, so this actually does go remove, and then you can just move it over here if you want and back and forth, which is nice because you can kind of decide the way that you want it the most. And as you saw here, this is actually the remote control for that back DVD player, which is kind of cool, so that people can, you know, control their TV as they want to. So that's a tour of the front of this vehicle. Let's go ahead and jump on the back so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like back there. So this thing fits people really, really well. Of course, we have our 2013 Ford Explorer that we have as well, and these seats are much, much bigger, and it's just much, much more roomy in there. Of course, you have this, which is something that bothered me about the Explorer, is that center coming down for cup holders instead of having the cup holders down here, of which it also has, which means you have 4 cup holders there. You do have audio and video hookups there, and then of course this is the climate control for the rear passengers. These are those heated seats that I was talking about. They can change fan speeds, all the different stuff, and then right here you can actually plug in and listen to music as well as watch movies up here. Let's go ahead and put that down here so you can see right here there is that screen, and that is what that remote control we talked about earlier works for. And then of course, what massive SUV would this be without a third row? So let's go ahead and show you that. But first, I got to put it down because we actually keep it in its upright position most of the time. So let's go ahead and turn you around and I'll show you all about that. So of course, this is our third row here. As you can see, it's in its upright position. Let's go ahead and put it down. You just push up on that button there, down, and then of course you go over here and you lift it up, and then that's your third row. And I'll put it back down just so you can see what it's like, just like that, and then that, and then it goes back up. And that's it. So it's really not that hard. It is much, I will say, much harder than our Ford Explorer, which you just basically flip it up and around. It's really cool. However, you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead. I'm actually going to sit in the back and show you what it looks like back there. So with that said, it's not great, honestly. So the back seat of this is the third row that I'm sitting in. Your knees are definitely up right here. There really is no space down below for your feet like a lot of other third row SUVs. So I'm actually not super impressed with the third row. It is usable, but it's not insanely comfortable, especially for somebody like me, who's, I think I'm about 6'1", 6 foot, and which I was really surprised about with how big this vehicle is. I will say the XL version, the Yukon, as well as the Suburban, they do actually have floor space down below to put your feet. However, that is not the case with this one. Before we finish up this video though, I want to talk a little bit about buying this. We did buy it from a dealership, which I know if you pay attention to ReadySetRev.com, I am not a huge fan of buying vehicles from a dealership, and that's generally because you don't get as good of a deal. However, this SUV I found before it was ever on the market. I was able to find it on a dealership's website. So I was able to get it before anybody else was competing for it, and we were able to buy it for under $10,000, which I think is a fantastic deal for this vehicle, especially in this time where just used SUVs are just going insane price, especially four-wheel drives like this one in this kind of condition. So I was really, really excited about that. We were able to negotiate them down because of a couple different issues and stuff like that. And it's just honestly was a really, really good vehicle, and I was surprised to find it. I did test drive a couple others, and this one was by far my favorite, mainly because of all the features that we discussed earlier. Were just really, really awesome. I drove another one that was kind of a little bit more basic. It was a very base model. It didn't have a ton of features. It didn't have a sunroof. It didn't have backup cameras or anything like that, which I actually really wanted in this vehicle and was really important. We did almost get that one. However, somebody else bought it right before we could, even after I test drove it. And so this one came up, I went and checked it out, and honestly, I just really liked it. So with that said, it's kind of crazy. This is one of the only vehicles I've ever bought from a dealership. However, I will say, as for the price, it wasn't dealership pricing. As I saw, most of the private party sellers were selling theirs for honestly more than I bought this one for. So this was a fantastic deal, even though I bought it from a dealership. So hey, thank you guys for watching, and have a great one. See ya. Bye.